Welcome back, everyone. So welcome back to the lecturer here. Okay. So in the previous video, we talked about what is actually objects, and then we had a little bit introductions on what is object-oriented programming and also what is procedural programming. Okay. So this time around, we are going to talk about a practical of how do we use Java in terms of object-oriented programming. But before we dive too deep into object-oriented programming by using Java, so what we are going to do today in this video is we are going to start with something basic. Okay, like let's say for example, getting the user inputs. So let's say if I'm type something from the keyboard, so how do I show it in my program? Okay, so this is something simple. Okay, so to create a project in NetBeans is very easy. So what you need to do here is just click on the new project and then make sure you choose Java with N. Okay, and then we pick Java applications. Okay, so for the project name, we can simply name it anything we want. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to call it a demo 1. Okay, so now we have our project ready. So what we are going to do now is we are going to create our own class. Okay, this is slightly different for those of you who came from procedural programming like C programming. Okay, because in procedural programming we normally focus more on how we design our methods of what we call as a functions. Okay, but in object oriented, or what we call as OOP, object oriented programming, we were focusing on more on how to create class. Okay, so now we are going to create a new Java class. Okay, let's name it a student, let's say lah. Okay, so follow the standard name Java naming. Okay, so we are going to call it student. Okay, so in every class here, what we need to have is we will definitely need to have a main method. If we want to run this program, okay, if we want to run this class here, we must have a main method. Okay, all right, so back to the topic. So what we are going to do here is, okay, we are going to get the input from the user. Okay, means the input from the keyboard. Okay, so in order for us to get the input from the keyboard, what we are going to use is we are going to import a library file called java.utility.scanner. Okay, so we are going to make use of this scanner class provided by Java. Okay, and the next thing is we are going to create an object of scanner. Okay, so scanner which are going to take in input from the user, okay, or from the keyboard. Okay, so once we have this object here, whenever we type anything into the keyboard, okay, so it will always be recorded or taken in by this scanner object. Okay, so let's try it out. So we are going to print out a message. Okay, so let's say enter your name. Okay, so enter our name here. So what we are going to do next is we are going to take in the input from the user. Okay, so name is definitely going to be a string. Okay, so create a variable to hold the value of the name. And then what we are going to do is we are going to call the methods from scanner. But if you have a look in our scanner, so we have a lot of different methods. So which one are we going to use? Okay, we have next line, big decimal, byte, boolean, double, float, integer, and so on. So for string, we are going to check on these two. Okay, next and also next line. Okay, so we'll go in detail on what is the difference between next and also next line. Okay, but first, let's try to use next first. Okay, and then next thing is let's try to print out the results. Okay, so your name is name. Okay, let's use a print ln. So the difference between print and also print ln, okay, is print, when you print, the cursor will stop at the final thing that you print, okay? But for print ln means print line, it will always go to the next line after printing this. Okay, so let's have a try here. Let's run the file. Okay, so the program will ask us to enter our name. Okay, so let's say my name is Bumblebee. Okay, so it will print out your name is Bumblebee, and then it will go to the next line, and that ends here. But whereas if we use print, let's see what is the difference. Huh? Okay, so Bumblebee. So the program ends at the last character here. Okay, instead of going to the next line, okay, it ends immediately at the back here. Okay, so to make it more nicer, okay, or neat, okay, let's use print line. Okay, so let's run again. But let's say this time around, my name is not Bumblebee. Let's say Optimus Prime. But why it only managed to print out Optimus? How about the Prime here? Okay, so for this, we are going to talk about the difference between next and also next line. Okay, so let's go a little bit on theory part here. Okay, so whenever we are using next, okay, let's say we type in Optimus Prime. Okay, maybe I'll use a notepad for this. Okay, so whenever we type in, let's say Optimus Prime, okay, so zoom in a bit. Okay, so let's say we type in Optimus Prime. So what next line is going to do, okay, is I will capture all the character until I encounter a space. Okay, so until I encounter the space, then I will stop. Okay, this is what it performs by the next. Okay, so if we are using next by using Optimus Prime, okay, so what we will get is Optimus only. Okay, whereas when we use next line, okay, the program or the scanner will keep on looking for the character until it encountered an /n behind. Okay, this /n here is whenever we press on the enter. Okay, to the program itself, it understands as an /n. So what the next line will do is, okay, so it will consistently looking for the character until it encounter the next line, then only it will stop. Okay, so in other words, these /n's here act as a delimiter. Okay, so in this case, okay, so the next line we will get Optimus Prime. Okay, enough of theory. So let's come back here. So let's say we use next line here. Okay, and then we are going to key in Optimus Prime. Ta-da! And now we get the full words, okay, the full name, okay, of Optimus Prime. So that is the difference between next and also next line. Okay, so here for this one is only string. So what if we want to get other data type, like let's say for example integers, okay, of double or anything like that. So it is pretty much the same. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, let's say we are going to get the age of the student. Okay, so enter your age. Okay, so we are going to keep the age in an integer variable. Okay, so scanner dot next int. Okay, next integer. Okay, so the word behind here actually determines what is the data type that you are trying to get. So next integer means integer, next double means next the double that we are going to store it. Okay, so lastly, let's print out the age. Your age is, okay, so let's run the program. Okay, so my name is Optimus Prime. I am 1000 years old. Okay, so your age is here. Okay, so this is how we get inputs from the keyboard. This is how we take in keyboard input. Okay, so that's all for the video today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you and bye bye.